Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Crans-Montana Men's Downhill. It is February. Happy February to you all. We are just waiting for the video feed to start. I'm using the Austrian news network and sports network called sport.orf.at. That's where I will be following this. The live timing you can see up here on the screen, and we'll be following that. You can see today that we've got 60 racers to go down. We've got 5 different time checks, 5 different sectors, 2 speed traps, and I'm assuming a time of about 150. Not exactly sure, but 150 to 2 minutes. The weather seems to be okay. Yesterday's weather during the Women's Super G was beautiful. Of course, if you remember, we had quite the scandalous race on Friday with the women's downhill. The women's downhill was a bad joke, a really poor course setting, some dangerous turns, some bad weather, and yeah, people were crashing. 3 of the first 6 crashed, including Lindsay Vonn, whose Olympic participation is now in question with a left knee injury. We detailed that pretty heavily during the live broadcast on Friday. Thank you so much. Over 1,200 people joined me for that broadcast, that live stream. And yeah, we'll have to see. Lindsay Vonn did get back on her feet on Friday, did manage to kind of slide down under quite the grimace. I think she did it more because she wasn't sure if that could have been her last race ever, if the injury turned out to be too bad and she wanted to go across the finish line one more time and get a little bit of that acknowledgement from the crowd. Okay, to today's race. Turns out during yesterday's training, there were some interesting storylines. Marco Odermatt and brain cramp this morning. Odermatt was quite slow. Ended up only 29th in the training yesterday. Franjo van Almen also quite slow. Yeah, Mr. Franzoni, the up-and-coming shooting star, had quite the day yesterday. Did a Bodie Miller. In other words, he was coming out of a curve a little too hot, and he ended up with one ski on the netting, and he was just able to avoid a crash. Okay, today's start list. Justin Morisier, local guy from Switzerland, first, and we have 2 Canadians with Cameron Alexander and James Crawford. Bryce Bennett of the US, then Elian Leto of Finland, and then we start to get into some of like the slight favorites with Alexis Monet, Florian Schneider, and Dominic Paris from Italy. Then Nils Allegre, always good for a surprise, and then with number 10 it gets really serious. Marco Odermatt with number 10, Mia Hrobat from Slovenia, number 11, Giovanni Franzoni coming in at number 12 at the start line. Then Niels Hintermann, Ryan Coughlin-Siegler from the US, and then Franjo van Almen, number 15, that takes care of the first group. But we have some really good racers coming up then in the second group, with Maxence Mousseton from France at 16, Stefan Rogentin of Switzerland, 17, Mattia Cassé, who had, I think, one of the fastest training times over the last couple of days, 18 from Italy, again, Daniel Hemmetsberger, number 19, and if you notice, he's the first Austrian racer at 19, and that is because Vincent Kriechmeier, who is number 6 in the World Cup downhill standings, has decided to skip this race and just prepare for the Olympics. Again, make sure next week you're with me. Friday night is the opening ceremonies. I will not be live streaming the opening ceremonies, but Saturday morning from Bormio, men's Olympic downhill, the first alpine skiing event of the 2026 Winter Olympics from Cortina and Milano. And we'll be right there live streaming the watch along for the men's downhill. And then Sunday morning, a week from right now, the women's downhill. And basically every day for 12 days during the Olympics, we will have a live stream every morning to cover the races. We've got the 2 downhills, 2 Super Gs, 2 giant slaloms, 2 slaloms, 2 team combines, and then the individual combine. I think that's it. I think there's 10 or 12. So yeah, that's our schedule for the Olympics. We will definitely be there for all of that. We have 9 minutes until the race starts now. Thanks again for joining me this morning. Yeah, the World Cup standings. If you look up here, I've got it right up here. Marco Odermatt with a comfortable lead in the downhill at 460 points ahead of his countryman Franjo van Almen, who's at 295. So a good 165 points difference between first and second. And then there's also quite a jump back to third, where Dominique Paris and Giovanni Franzoni, the shooting star of this year, are tied for third at 216 points. Then we've got Florian Schieder, also of Italy. So 3 Italians in a row in third, and fifth. And he's at 190 points. Vincent Kriechmeier, who I just mentioned, would not be racing today. He will be back in Austria in Saalbach, Hinterglemm, training for the Olympics. That is the news coming out of Austria this morning. Yeah. And then Nils Allegre at 159 points is in the race, and Maxence Moussaton is 8th on 112. So really, I don't even know if this is a 2-man race anymore for the small crystal ball for the World Cup downhill individual event. I think Marco Odermatt has it running away. Of course, if he were to not finish today and Franjo van Almen were to win, then there'd only be 65 points difference. So a lot can happen. It's ski racing. We've seen this in the past. We saw Lindsay Vonn cruising along this year, really revitalizing her career after 5 years off, after having that right knee replaced a couple of years ago, back to winning, lots of podiums, at least 2 victories, and then the crash on Friday during the downhill. And that has really, really brought some upheaval to the Olympic schedule, because a lot of people were saying, this could be her great last hurrah, going for gold in the downhill again, maybe the Super G, maybe the individual combined. She had a chance for 2 or 3 of the medals in the speed disciplines for the women's races. So we're going to have to see. As far as I know, she has not released any new information other than she is working towards her Olympic goals. So I just trying to see here. Yeah, there was some. I mean, because she skipped. Of course, she skipped the Super G yesterday. The question is, she is okay. The statement was from her coach yesterday. Chris Knight is her coach, and he said she'll be sitting out the Super G yesterday, but she is preparing for Cortina as usual, as per usual. So Lindsay Vonn updates probably to come during the week. But today we are going to focus on the men's downhill, the final alpine skiing event of the pre-Olympic season. There will be races after the Olympics. There's always this big buildup when you have an Olympic season or a World Championship season, and the World Cup kind of gets forgotten. But there are a lot of tight races still in slalom and giant slalom, Super G, and even downhill. And I think people lose track of that. You get into this Olympic window and everybody only focuses on that, and those 2 weeks are great. but then a week after the Olympics, they're right back to racing. So we're going to start, we're going to get the live stream going right now. It started 20 seconds ago on ORF, which is what I'm watching. So I'm going to put the link in here right now, sport.orf.at. And there is a live stream in there. If you have VPN and can connect to that, then you can watch along. There's usually a lag of about 25 to 30 seconds. And if you don't have VPN, I use NordVPN. I do have a link in the description below. Feel free to click on that and get yourself some NordVPN. Because for me, for watching sports, especially things like the Olympics, and where the coverage may not be the same in every country. I know in the US we have a big problem with Olympic coverage because it's so far outside of the time window, right? Because like if you live on the West Coast, like I used to live in Seattle and LA, and it was always a bit of a problem because of course you wake up in the morning and the event has already happened. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to know that. You just want to wake up and get right into it. So being able to cover these things or see these things on VPN, see the full event when you can, when it's live, that's great. And for me, VPN is I don't want to see just 2 or 3 Americans and the guys who medal. I want to see number 1 to number 30 at least. So yeah, trying to get the live stream working here. All right, so yeah, we are just 3 minutes away, and if you're following along here on the side, you can see we've got all the timing window from FIS, and Justin Murizier will be the first racer down. And we'll get a good sense then of what the weather looks like, how the course looks. The women had a hard time on Friday with fairly significant snowfall, foggy conditions. They had to shorten the course for the women's downhill on Friday. Yesterday was much better. It's been cold. I think yesterday it was -9 at the start, at the top of the Super G, -9 C, which is about 15 Fahrenheit. So a pretty chilly morning there, but Crans-Montana is at altitude. Now, for you folks who don't know much about Crans-Montana, it did make the news in the worst way. On New Year's Eve, they had a terrible bar fire. Sparklers that were attached to champagne bottles ignited. Decorations that were on the ceiling led to a very tragic fire. 40 people lost their lives, another 120 injured in that. So a really awful event there. So what we're going to do now, still waiting on the feed. I use a 2-computer setup because I use the VPN on my laptop over here to watch, and I'm on my normal one for better performance, my Mac over here. So we get the best of both worlds that way. And yeah, we are just a minute away from the first rider. You're going to see here on the screen in the timing list where I'm scrolling now, Justin Morizier's name will switch to next, and then it'll say started, and then we will be following all of the time checks right up here in the top window. Yeah, lots of commercials being shown on this live feed before you get into it. But yeah, beautiful sunny day. I have it up now. We have live coverage. Again, there'll be a lag of about 30 seconds. There's still a little bit of work being done on some of the safety netting. So that may be why I haven't seen Justin Morizier's name switch from blank to next to started yet, because they are probably a minute or 2 behind. What a glorious day. Blue sky, sunshine, thousands and thousands of fans in the stands waving Swiss flags. It's a home race for them. You can see behind the finish line, they've got bleachers on 3 sides. They've got the TV towers elevated behind there. And we are just about ready to go. We have 2 more officials still walking across the track. Wow, it's a gorgeous day. It is an absolutely gorgeous day. Deep blue sky. I think they started about 2,250 meters, maybe 7,000 feet above sea level. Yeah, so again, a little bit of problem with the feed today. All right, more commercials. Yeah, that's another thing you got to deal with. Anytime you start that live stream, if you get NordVPN and you connect to the Austrian website that I gave you in the chat, then you'll see that you always end up starting with commercials. So good to see everybody this morning. Let's get started here. The delay is still ongoing. And yeah, we are definitely having some transmission issues with the live video feed, but FIS has not given the race the green light yet. So again, they were working on some of the gates about halfway down the slope. Going to see now if I can get this open in another window. But yeah, if the FIS doesn't even have, the FIS doesn't even have the timing going yet, then it doesn't much matter if I can't see what I can't see. So yeah, the VPN, yeah, still giving me weird messages about you're not allowed, but you know, I am because I'm in there with the VPN. Yeah, so there is a delay. We're 2 minutes past the time now where it should have started. So bear with us here. The FIS clearly not comfortable yet with the situation, and they have not allowed the race to start just yet. All right, going to try a different browser here. Yeah, still no word on why the delay is happening or how long it's going to be, but it is ongoing. Yeah, it's almost certainly a technical issue with some of the gates that they were repairing last minute there. So again, we're going to watch this window here. We're going to see. It's, again, as I mentioned, the last alpine skiing race before the Olympics start. The opening ceremonies are next Friday in Milano in San Siro Stadium. So that's going to be exciting. San Siro, of course, is a huge stadium in Milan that is home to both AC Milan and Inter Milan soccer teams. A lot of famous history there, a lot of great games, Champions League, and other big events there. They are going to have full house with close to 75,000 people in the stadium for, you know, the Parade of Nations as they enter the stadium and start the Olympics. So, okay, still no word. We are now 4 minutes past. The FIS is holding back the start of this race. It's not a weather issue. It is most certainly some kind of a technical issue, and we're going to see in just a moment what that was all about. Hurry up and wait, guys. That's the motif for today. It's exciting because it's a beautiful downhill. It's a great course. covers an awful lot of vertical difference in altitude. I think close to 3,000 feet from top to bottom when the full course is open, like it is today. I think it's very close to a 2-minute race. The longest men's downhill races are as long as 2:10. You can imagine how much that burns in your legs as you go down here. So I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to disconnect one more time and reconnect here with the VPN, trying to get a better sense of why the video feed is not going and why the broadcast, the actual race, has not yet started. So we're a little stuck here again. Just bear with me, guys. It's not something that I have any control of whatsoever. The race has been delayed now a solid 6 minutes past what should have been. The broadcast, the Austrian broadcast, keeps telling me, keeps giving me commercials, and we all know that that's not fun. I don't want to watch commercials. I want to watch the race. All right, Justin Murisier has gotten the signal here. Next up, you can see it here in the window, and we're now going to follow him, his time through all of the sector checks. In the meantime, I will get this VPN and the actual race video going in my other window over here. Okay, VPN reconnected. Justin Murisier still says next. Has not been given the green light yet to go. You'll see down at the bottom of the screen where it says next, and then it will say started, and then we'll see his times start to appear as he goes through all of the time checks. Should be just any, there we go, started. Justin Murisier has started. He is on his way. I'm not exactly sure what it is, about 14 seconds maybe to the first one from the training runs that I was looking at yesterday. We'll see in just a second here. 16.61. He's through at 117 kilometers an hour. So very fast up top already after just 15, 16 seconds. And I have beautiful pictures on my left screen now. So we are fully engaged. The race is on. Justin Murisier, 32:09 through the second time check. What a glorious day. Oh, beautiful. Double little camelback there. And he jumped both of them at once. Then there's a long stretch about 25 seconds in where he is just gliding beautifully. The view to the background. And then there's a constructed jump at 32 seconds in that he took. That second time check, you see 52:09 now. So through time check 3 and heading to time check 4, we're going to get a second speed trap right after that, another jump, so at least 3 jumps now. 104 through that second speed trap as a bit of a flatter section, more of a gliding section, and he is on his way. Almost 105K there. More flat sections, kind of lost his balance at about 107 through there. He's now 1 minute 14:93 through the fourth, 138 through the fifth. We're coming down to the final time check here and into the finish area. Sweeping curves. We're going to have our first time of the day from Justin Murisier, the local fella from Switzerland here. I'm not sure if he's from Crans-Montana, but he is Swiss, and he is in 1:56.54. Like I said, between 1:55 and 2 minutes is what I was thinking was going to be the winning time, or a time to set today. We're going to see really quickly now what that's worth with Cameron Alexander, and he is started. If you look up here, At the top, you can see the start interval is 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So there's only about 14 seconds between when the previous racer goes through the finish line and the next racer starts. So they're basically just saying, okay, you cross the finish line, off you go. Cameron Alexander, 1/10 behind after the first time check. Coming to the second one now, he's now up by 19/100ths. So Cameron Alexander having a great race. His speed was slower through that first speed trap, but he took the lead. Cameron Alexander coming into time check 3 any moment now. Going to see 51.79, now up by 3/10. So he, after the first sector, he's where he was second to Murizier, he's now beaten Murizier in sector 2 and sector 3. Coming down to sector 4, time check, and Cameron Alexander 105 kilometers an hour faster than Murizier, 1:14.57. He's up by 36/100ths. And we're coming into the final time check for Cameron Alexander from Canada, time check 5. Let's see what 1:38.37 was Murizier's time, 1:38.19. So he's lost 1800ths now in between 4 and 5. And now it's just down to the finish. We shall see what happens here. Cameron Alexander trying to take the lead from Justin Murizier. And he is through and in first, 1:56.23. You can see it right there on the screen. Rank number 1. So after the, like I said, after that first time check and speed check where he was second, he came, had the fastest time through all of the remaining speed checks, and he is now first. Beautiful finish, super smooth, nice geometry around those last curves. The course setting so much smoother than the women's. James Crawford has started, and he is at 1685, 1400ths behind. So the third time, you can see the rank right there. He's third out of 3 so far at that top time check, but only 4/100ths behind Murizier. But oh, he lost a lot of time. So even though he had the second fastest speed coming through the speed trap 1, he lost 7.75 of a second. So he's now almost a second behind already. James Crawford clearly had some issues between time check 1 and time check 2, and we're going to see how that works itself out. Lost another 400ths as we went through time check 3. Now 92/100ths behind. I'm trying to look over here to see. Yeah, he's got his arms up a little bit. He's got a pretty wide ski tracking. So not got that really tight parallel. Didn't have a really tight tuck, and he's now lost 1.26 seconds through sector 4 time check. So not a good day for James Crawford. Bryce Bennett getting himself ready up in the start house. He'll be next, and then Elian Leto, and then with number 6, Alexis Monet. So we're going to get right into some of the better skiers soon. You know, they do their start number picking, and the best guys are coming from 6 to 15. James Crawford just about done now, 1.3 seconds behind at that final sector time check, and 1.65. He lost a lot of time in sector 2. You can see it down here. Lost 3/4 of a second there. Then lost 1/3 of a second in sector 4, 1/3 of a second in sector 5. Sector 6, his sector 5 time was good. Just overall, not a good race. Bryce Bennett has started. He's on his way. Bib number 4, tall, lanky American. I think he's like 6'6". I think far and away the tallest guy, and he is fast. And one thing he's always been good at is starting and getting that big body moving straight downhill. And he has the fastest time so far through sector 1 and the fastest speed by 6 kilometers an hour. But he lost almost 3/10 going into sector 2. The time check there has him now 27/100ths of a second behind. Seeing the video on the left of Crawford, looking really disappointed with his his effort. Bryce Bennett coming now into time check 3, and he's gained back a little bit of time, only 2/10 back now. That would put him in between Cameron Alexander and Justin Morizier. So we have to see if he can keep it going. He did not have a good race last week. Big guy, sometimes when it gets a little technical, it's just a little too much for him in the turns with that big 6'6" body. But doing well. Lost 700ths again, but still keeping it pretty tight. He was right there at Speed Trap 2 at 105.3, just 1/10 of a kilometer an hour off of Cameron Alexander's speed. So we have one more time check and then the finish line for Bryce Bennett, and he is still 1700ths back. He picked up another 1/10. It's going to be close. He's got a really good chance at second. Watching the feed here, the feed is about 30 seconds behind, 23 seconds behind. I'm going to let you know exactly. He's through in 156.60, so he lost 2/10 down there. Yeah, it's a good 22-second time lag between the live feed that is behind the FIS timing. The FIS timing is live and absolutely right up to date. The video feed I'm getting from the Austrian Broadcasting Company is a solid 23 seconds behind. So Bryce Bennett in third, missed second by 6/100ths of a second. And Elian Leto with bib 5 has started 12/100ths back at the first time check, and he's on his way. Some fantastic slow motion pictures over here of the jumps. Bryce Bennett disappointed, cold. You can see just huge like puffs of air coming out from the really cold air. I'm gonna have to get a weather check for you guys. Leto not having a great race, 8/10 back through 2 time checks. Let's do that real quick. Let's see just how cold Crans-Montana weather, how cold it is today. I'm gonna guess that it's probably, I know that, wow, they said the nighttime temperatures were as low as -16, which would be 5 Fahrenheit. Right now, -7 feels like -3 Celsius due to the brilliant sunshine. So -7 is about 23 degrees, so not too bad, 23 Fahrenheit. Elian Leto, almost a second behind through Sector 4 time check, not having a great race, should still be able to come in ahead of James Crawford, who was 165 back. We're going to see that in just a second. You can see Leto on this other screen over here as he went through time check 4, struggling to keep his skis parallel, and he is through. Lost a lot of time on that last sector, another 6/10, and actually is now last, almost 2/10 further back from James Crawford. So 1.83. So 3 guys within 4/10, and then a huge jump. Oh yeah, on that last jump, Leto got a little bit sideways, had to stand up, and was a good 20 degrees towards the left when he went over that jump. So almost got windmilled. Not great. Alexis Monet on course. They have the interval now at 2 minutes and 40. So there is a good 45 seconds now in between racers. Monet 5/100ths back only through the first time check, but lost 6/10 more between Sector 1 and Sector 2. You can see it down here at the bottom of the screen. Losing time. Yeah, right there. 6/10 lost for Alexis Monet in that Sector 2 area alone. Coming into Sector 3 now up here, you can see he's gained 2/10 back, almost a quarter of a second back, only 4/10 off now. So Monet back on track, picking up time. He's looking good. Went over this one jump, a little bit of flail with the right arm to keep himself parallel. He looks like he's bombing it. He is really trying, and yeah, you can see where he made up that time. He was in really good shape. He's picked up another 1400ths, only 27/100ths back now, which would put him second. So Cameron Alexander, a great early run here. And we're going to see what that's worth very soon here, because Alexis Monet definitely I would have pegged to be ahead of Cameron Alexander today. And coming down the last time check, Monet has taken the lead a tenth of a second ahead of Cameron Alexander. And now he's just got 20 seconds left. A really quick bunch of curves coming down to the end here. Beautiful, just beautiful day. Everything in great conditions. And yes, Alexis Monet threw into first place by 17/100ths of a second. And you can see up here, he was, after sector 2, he was the fastest in sector 3, 4, 5, and 6 to set best times for that throughout. So great bottom section for Alexis Monet, who turned a 65/100 of a second deficit at speed check, at time check 2, into a 17/100ths lead. So turned it around by 8/10 after sector 2 down to the end. So really giving the home fans a treat here. Just loving it. Yeah, great form, going over these small bumps in curves without really coming out of the tuck, keeping the skis perfectly parallel. A wonderful race there from Alexis Monet. So great to see him thrill the home fans. Florian Schieder has started, and he's 12/100ths ahead of Alexis Monet. Now remember, Monet not great at the first checks, and Florian Schieder now 66/100ths up. But this is the point where Monet was 65/100ths down and made up all that time afterwards. So Florian Schieder now looking to set a much better time. But there you go, 2/10 lost already towards against Alexis Monet, only 45/100ths difference now. And this is where Alexis Monet really excelled during the race. We're going to see really soon here at time check 4. If Schieder has lost more, he's only lost 7/100ths. He's actually a little faster than Monet here at 106.4 kilometers per hour, and he is heading towards the final time check, just 3/10 back. We're going to see if he can make up more time, but this is where Monet was really excellent. So Schieder, oh yeah, made up another 3/10, 5/100ths back. We're going to have a really tight finish here between Schieder and Monet, and it's about 18 to 20 seconds from that final time check to the finish. And Florian Schieder in first, 11/100ths of a second ahead of Alexis Monet. So again, Schieder very fast up top, a little bit sluggish through sectors 3 and 5, but excellent in sector 6, the fastest time, made up time there. It was really sector 2 that cost Monet this race. He would have really been ahead. I mean, he's only off the pace by 11/100ths of a second, but he lost over half a second just in sector 2. So really strange there. Dominique Paris next. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget to put stuff in the chat. Good to chat while we're doing this. Good to talk about the Olympics. Tell me what you're thinking for next week. Men's Olympic downhill on Saturday, women on Sunday. We're going to cover both of those races in live stream right here on my channel, Travels with Tony. Appreciate you being here. We cover everything about movement, everything that gets you from A to B, whether it's cycling or ferries or skiing or, bullet trains. We like things that go fast and get us places. So thanks for watching. Join the chat. Tell me what's going on today, where you're coming from, where you're watching from. Dominique Paris on track. Was pretty close through the first time check. Now 3/10 down, 36/100ths down through sector 2, and he'll be moving into sector 3. Only about 19 seconds between sectors 2 and sectors 3. So yep, he made up some time there, made up almost that whole 3/10. He's now only 1/100th back. Dominique Paris, always good for a race you know, a good race to watch. And he is coming into sector 4, and he's now taking the lead, 1700ths ahead of Florian Schieder. So the Italians having a good time of it so far. If this keeps up, we'll have a 1-2 ranking for the Italians right now. Florian Schieder from Italy in the lead. Dominique Paris with the fastest time now through the second speed trap, coming into that last sector 5 timing, and he's up by almost half a second. A really great lower section here for Dominique Paris, who's turned it around to the tune of 7/10 between sector 2 and sector 5 timing, and he will almost certainly be first, and he is. Dominique Paris comes across in first with bib number 8, 3/10 ahead of Florian Schieder. So we have Italians 1 and 2, and Alexis Monet, the local racer, in third. Schieder is a full 3/10 off of Dominique Paris's time, and Monet 4/10. Cameron Alexander, who had an early good run, is now almost 6/10 back in fourth. Justin Murice, who was the first one down, 9/10 back. Bryce Bennett in sixth, 95 100ths back, almost a second. And then James Crawford and Elian Leto, Canada and Finland, well over 2 seconds back, just did not have good races at all. So who's up next? Number 9, Nils Allegre from France with bib 9, and he is 7th overall in the World Cup downhill standings. Now Dominique Paris, who's currently in first in this race, is 3rd overall, so he's looking to solidify that, but he's tied with Giovanni Franzoni right now for that. Nils Allegre on course, 7 100ths back through the first time check, decent speed, pretty close, 19 100ths back now through the second. So Nils Allegre, 7th overall in the downhill in the World Cup, stands to gain possibly a place because Vincent Kriechmeier of Austria, who's 6th, has decided to sit out the race today. And he instead is training in Saalbach-Hinterglemm back in Austria, getting ready for next Saturday's Olympic downhill race. All right, Nils Allegre losing time now into sector 3 time check, almost half a second behind. So not doing very well there. That's a shame. Pretty fast now. Through Speed Trap 2, fastest time, over 107 kilometers an hour. We'll see if he can get back some of the time he's lost. He's 6/10 down as it stands. And we're going to see 6/10 probably gets him 5th at this point if he can hold it together. 9/10 back, so he's lost more time, lost another 3/10 between sector 4 and sector 5. Coming down 9/10, he'll be lucky to get 5th or 6th. He's got Maurice at 9/10 back. Bryce Bennett another 5 100ths back, and Dominique Paris in 1:14 back, puts him in 7th. Outside of that first and second groups of racers from today, but still over a second ahead of James Crawford and Elian Leto. So start interval still 2:40, and now it's going to get really exciting because Marco Odermatt is up next. Marco Odermatt leading the downhill standings, and he is just about to start. We're going to see that he's still got the next by his name. As soon as that switches to started, we're going to get up and see those sector times and see how it compares. He is started, so it's about 16.7 seconds to the first time check. Like I said, my video feed here is about 23, 24 seconds behind. So he'll be through that first speed check before I see him out of the start house. 16:62, 7/100ths of a second ahead. And yeah, the lag is down to about 19 seconds now. So that's pretty cool. Only about 19 seconds behind. And Marco Odermatt looking really solid up top. Fastest 1:15.09, 4th fastest, but faster than Dominique Paris was. Odermatt now 6 100ths ahead through the second time check, so not pulling away. But we know that he finishes strong. He's an incredibly strong athlete, great racer, and over that constructed jump, not the best jump I've ever seen him make. Had to kind of pull out of it a little bit. Maybe thought he had too much speed. Time check 3, still 6/100ths ahead. He is in first, but not by much. Again, a little wild over that next big jump. And yeah, he's lost time, 9/100ths back now. So he lost 1500ths to Dominique Paris between 3 and 4, sectors 3 and 4. Now we have to see what he can do. His speed was a little off, not the fastest through the second speed trap there at 105. Coming into time check 5 now, Odermatt, exactly the same differential, 9/100ths. So this is going to come down to this last section. Odermatt or Dominique Paris, 9/100ths will decide. Yeah, and that's the third jump now that I've seen Odermatt flail a little bit. And no, he's not able to take the lead. Second place, 14/100ths behind. And I'll tell you from watching on the side here, Odermatt missed out on several of the jumps, just wild and flailing across 3 different jumps that I saw. So Odermatt not with the best run of the day. I know there were rumors about people taking it a little easy leading up to the Olympics, but other guys, the athletes actually saying, no, I'm here to race. I ski race. And every time I get on that course, I race, which is what I love to hear because, yeah, I know the Olympics is coming up and it's only once a year. And guys like Dominique Paris, this may be his last Olympiad, but he went all out. Odermatt, yeah, again, just getting a little funky over the jumps, coming down uneven, off balance, and not able to keep it together. Mia Hrovaat on course with bib number 11, 2/10ths back of Paris, Dominique Paris, as he goes through time check 1. Only about 16 seconds, 15, 16 seconds to time check 2, but Hrovaat has lost another 2/10ths there. So not starting off very well for Miha Hrovaat from Slovenia. You know, the Slovenians famous now for 2 things, famous for their cyclists with guys like Tadej Pogačar, and also really famous right now for their ski jumpers, Nordic ski jumping with Domen Preus having won 10 ski jumping competitions already this year. Heavy favorite to take home at least 3 gold medals in the Olympics. So keep your eye on Slovenia and ski jumping for the Olympics coming up in ski jumping, because Domen Preus from Slovenia, countryman of Mia Hrovaat, who's on course right now, stands to dominate the Olympics this year. Hrovaat now nearly a second behind, coming up to time check 5. We'll see in just a second. I think he's going to be just over, 1.1 seconds back of Dominique Paris. At this point, that'll slot him behind Nils Allegre if he keeps losing time at that pace. Probably 9th place for Hrovaat. And we're going to see that right here in a second. Yep, 129 back, 9th place. And now the other big favorite, the shooting star this season, Giovanni Franzoni, who won Kitzbühel last week. That was such a great race. You guys were fantastic. We had 2,500 people during the live stream watching along. And yeah, he ended up winning the Strife, the Hahnenkamm, the Kitzbühel downhill, and he is just about to start. Giovanni Franzoni of Italy, young fella. Next up here with bib number 12, Dominique Paris, his countryman, still in the lead, and Giovanni Franzoni is on course. Heading down to that first time check with number 12. I got him in the start house right over here, and you can see him getting ready. 1686, 1700s back at the first time check. So yeah, it's still about 20, 21 second lag. 114 kilometers an hour, the 5th fastest time, but faster than Dominique Paris. So that's really what you're going against. You're going time checks against Paris and speed against Paris. So time check 2, 11 100ths back. So Fransoni has made up 6 100ths of a second as he comes down here through sector 2 and the time tracking there. Oh, but a bad sector 3. And he is now 45 100ths behind, which would put him 5th in the race. So something must have happened there. Yeah, over that second jump, similar to Odermatt, flailing in the jump. Jump is not really straight. It's kind of a jump where you're turning after the jump right away to the left. And now 64 hundredths back. So Fransoni going the wrong way. Not his best race. Definitely not living up to his victory last week in Kitzbühel. And I don't see how he's going to make back 6/10. 6/10 puts him way back in 6th. So disappointing so far. Faster in Speed Trap 2, but losing time still. He's now almost a second behind in 9th. And at this pace, 9th may be a lucky place for him to finish. And I'm sure that's a big disappointment for Fransoni in this final Olympic tune-up. He is through in 1:09, puts him 8th overall, behind Bryce Bennett and ahead of Nils Allegre. So Giovanni Fransoni of Italy, bit of a disappointment. I'm looking at the last 15-20 seconds here on my other screen, and yeah, again, similar to Odermatt, over the jumps, a bit of flailing, and it just didn't seem like he had his best race going today. Interesting to see, were they coming so fast into those jumps? But yeah, the replay again, another one of the jumps here, and he was really, tips up in the air and had to do a lot of work with his core to get the tips back down. And when you get your tips up in the air, there's just so much air resistance. All right, next up is Nils Hintermann, and he has started, and he has the lead through the first time check, 5 100ths up on Dominique Paris. So he's another local hero for the Swiss, Nils Hintermann. Not in the top 8 in the World Cup standings. You can see them up here. This is the downhill World Cup standings with Odermatt in first, Dominique Paris in second, in third, Franjo van Almen in second. So yeah, Nils Hintermann through, still in first at sector 2, but then dropped a little bit in sector 3, lost 3/10 there. So the big thing will be sector 4 now to see where he is, but only a 10th off the pace, behind Dominique Paris. Swiss hoping to get one of their fellows up onto the top step of the podium, and he is losing more time. 34 100ths back through sector 4, and 1.4 kilometers an hour slower. So Hintermann going backwards here down the field after being up by as much as a quarter of a second on Dominique Paris through sector 2. The course is immaculate today, I've got to say. Hintermann now down to half a second. He'll be lucky to finish 5th if he doesn't lose any more time. Cameron Alexander currently in 5th at 58 100ths. And Hintermann, these last 18 seconds down to the finish line, and he is in 6th, 89 100ths behind. So tied with Justin Morizier, his countryman. So the Swiss now 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 6th, which seems like a good result, but they always want to win. Dominique Paris in 1st, and maybe the surprise Florian Schieder in 3rd right now, 2 Italians, with Fransoni, the 3rd Italian, being a bit of a disappointment down in 9th. Now Florian Schieder in 5th overall in the World Cup downhill standings, so not a surprise, but definitely better than he would have thought. Ryan Cochran-Siegel of the US in 3rd, started with bib 14. And he's coming down towards the sector 1 time check. He has won podium this year in Beaver Creek early in the season, and he is up 5/100ths at the first time check and has great speed going. And this is something we saw with Bryce Bennett earlier, the other American, way up on speed at the first speed trap. And Ryan Cochran-Siegel has kept it going. He's built that advantage over Dominique Paris to 1900ths of a second, so almost 2/10 up. And now we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see where he slots in. Yep, he's still in first, 17/100ths up. Great run so far for Ryan Cochran-Siegel. This is unexpected. He's looking good. He's looking, like he's really going balls to the wall. No holding back from anybody that I've seen today, even with the Olympics just a week away. Speed right there, just about half a kilometer slower per hour than Dominique Paris at the second speed trap, only 4/100ths up. And this is where Paris really had a great race, that lower section. Will Cochran-Siegel still have the green light as he comes through speed check, time check 5? Yes, 12/100ths up. Ryan Cochran-Siegel looking for the upset today to place ahead of Dominique Paris and Marco Odermatt, coming down the last 20 seconds. Sector 6 is the final between sector 5 and the finish line. Oh, and he doesn't quite make it. 5/100ths of a second. Ryan Cochran-Siegel with a huge result today. In second, splits Dominique Paris and Marco Odermatt. Odermatt now down to third. I'm watching now. Beautiful on the jumps. You see, I told you earlier, the jumps make a big difference. And we saw Odermatt flailing, and we saw Franzoni flailing, and I saw Ryan Cochran-Siegel tucked, beautiful, no movement in the body, gives the big double thumbs up. He's bowing down to Dominique Paris, and just everybody having a great time. You get a day like this where the weather is that beautiful, and this guy just, a great result for him. Again, the jumps are the difference. Wow, I'm looking in the background, and down in the valley, there's so little snow. I don't care what you think about why, what the causes of global warming are. Is it our fault? Is it just the planet? But it kills me to see the ski resorts struggling the way they are to have enough snow. And maybe they had snow here on Friday during the women's downhill, and that was tough conditions. But when I look at the valley and I just see how dark the valley is, that there's just no snow layer. And it's the 1st of February, guys. I spent a lot of time in Austria back in the early 80s skiing. I was at an international school, and our school went skiing for a week at the end of February every year, and there would be 15 feet of snow on the sides of the road going up. All right, we've got Franzo van Almen here, the big favorite now, still left, and he's having a great race. Let's not miss this. He's half a second up through sector 4. We may have a new leader. 4/10 up on Ryan Cochran-Siegel. Now, Cochran-Siegel had a good bottom section, and here we are coming into sector 5. Franjo van Almen, better time, better speed than Ryan Cochran-Siegel. And yeah, building out his advantage. Franjo van Almen looks like he may take victory for the home crowd here. A little slip there coming around one of the gates, but he's got almost half a second advantage. 18 seconds to the finish. He should be in any second now. And Franjo van Almen, whoa, 155 flat, 65/100ths, an epic ride race from Franjo van Almen, and he has destroyed the competition. Absolutely destroyed the competition. And he did it basically through all sectors except 3 and 4. He built a big lead early and then added on to it, and added even another 2/10 in that last sector 6. Dominique Paris down to second. Ryan Cochran-Siegler down to third, and Marco Odermatt pushed off the podium. And this is going to matter because it's like 180, 60, 40, something like that for the first four, 180, 60, 50. So there's going to be, I think, at least a 50-point differential between Marco Odermatt and Franjo van Almen. And I think because of that, we're going to have a much narrower gap between first and second. I think there are 3 downhill races after the Olympics where Van Almen still has a chance to take the downhill specialty World Cup. We're going to have a TV timeout here. We've got Franjo van Almen first, 65 100ths ahead of Dominique Paris. So absolute dominance today from Franjo van Almen. And Giovanni Franzoni, the big disappointment, 1.74 seconds back. Did he really just, I don't think he mailed it in. He looked bad over the jumps. And he lost time over the jumps. He was flailing. It just didn't look solid. You know, there's a danger in going too slow. Your mind and your body are used to these courses. If you've raced them a few times, if you've memorized a course, you have an idea of how fast things should be coming. And if all of a sudden you take your foot off the gas, you know, things are not coming when they should, and that can lead to spills and injuries. So I think a lot of these guys, because of that, they want to go full bore every single time they race. I have a hard time thinking that anybody mailed it in, but Franzoni, my God, 1.74, that's another world. Franjo van Almen just dominant today, absolutely dominant. You know, 6,500 faster in both speed checks, the second fastest speed check overall at the end there. And you can see 65 100ths. That means that there are only 5 guys within 1 second right now. So watching, are we Max Mousseton? Okay, commercial break is over. And Maxence Mousseton is on his way, but he's already half a second behind at the second time check, 77 100ths back at the third time check. And I think basically what we've seen such a dominant performance. It would be hard to imagine anybody getting close to Franjo van Almen. Now, that doesn't mean the podium places are not over, because 7/10 back will still get you third. Right now, it's still Ryan Cochran-Siegler in third place, and Mousseton 87 hundredths behind, still fifth with bib 16. So if he can finish strong, Mousseton has a chance still to be in maybe the top 5. So he's coming into speed check 5 now, just the last one before the final descent into the finish line, and he's lost a bit of time. So he's now 1 second behind, which is still 6th. Again, don't lose any more, keep the place. Maxence Mousseton coming in to the finish line, just about 5 or 6 seconds away, and he is 1.27, 8th place. 1.27 seconds behind, still gets you 8th. So he comes in right behind Cameron Alexander, and still a chunk ahead of Niels Hintermann, who's tied with Merisier for 9th. So yeah, just, you know, the Swiss have first, but their other racers are getting pushed down by these last couple of guys in Ryan Cochran-Siegler and Franjo van Almen. Bibs 14 and 15 now in first and third place. So pretty exciting stuff there for Franjo van Almen. I wonder if he's actually from Montana. That would be really cool to see if Franjo van Almen. Try to get his wiki here. He is from Boltigen in Bern, so not from here, from much farther north. and east of Crans-Montana. Stefan Rogentin on course, heading down. I wanted to make sure we focused on Mattia Cassé, who's next, because he had such great results in training. Rogentin, another Swiss racer, not having a good race at all, was already 1.21 behind through sector 4, slower through the second speed trap, and probably close to 1.5 seconds now through sector 5. So yeah, 1.5, 1.54 through there, losing more time. If he ends up about 1.8 back, he could be down as far as 13th, 14th, 15th in between Nils Allegre and Mia Hrobat. So let's see here. Stefan Rogentin coming to the finish in, and you can see those little red dots there along the side just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That is the differential to the lead. So the bigger that red mark is by the speed traps, that's how far behind they are. And now almost 2 seconds back. Rogentin finishes 14th, 1.9 seconds behind. The start interval is gone down from 2:40 to 2:10, and Mattia Cassé is on course, and he has the second best time up top in the first sector. All right, a good speed of 1:15, just about 1:14.93, and he's 26 100ths back. So far so good for Mattia Cassé of Italy, who was very strong in the timing, in the training yesterday and the day before. Let's see what happens here at sector 3 time check. Cassé through, and he's made up time. He's only 4 100ths back. Mattia Cassé so far living up to what he did in training. And you know, they have this term in German called Trainingsweltmeister, which means world champion in training. It means they always go full out in training and you can't reproduce it in the race. But today we're seeing Cassé living up to that. Only 4 100ths back, only 5 100ths back now through sector 4. This is a second place finish. This would be a second place finish and push Odermatt down to 5th and push Ryan Cochran-Siegel off the podium. Speed was good for Cassé through the second speed trap, and coming into sector 5 now, he lost a good half second. So now it's going to be really hard to see what happens with Cassé. Will he hold that differential and be able to still finish second? Because now it's boom, boom, boom from second to third to fourth to fifth. And he's in 92 100ths back, so 5th place. Ends up just ahead of Florian Schieder and just behind Marco Odermatt. So only 13 100ths back. So yeah, that fifth, from 4th to 5th time check, Mattia Cassé lost a ton of time. So yeah, unfortunately for Cassé, did really well during training, still in 5th, which is not bad when you're starting with bib 18 to end up 5th, just 0.2 off of a podium finish. Ryan Cochran-Siegel hanging on to that 3rd spot on the podium now, 7 tenths back. Daniel Hemmetsberger of Austria on course, 4 tenths back through the second time check. Good on the speed up top. See if that works its way out between sectors 2 and 3, but already 4 tenths back. Can't lose more time. You just can't. But Franjo van Almen obliterated everybody today, and Hemmetsberger is not putting a dent in that. He's going backwards. He's nearly 7 tenths back through the 3rd time check. And now we're going to the 4th time check. Should be any second now. Anything under a second still gets you in the top 7. Hemmetsberger, 108 back. That's not going to help. Top 10 is going to be hard for him. He's just losing 2 tenths pretty much every time check here. From 2 to 3, he lost 2 tenths. From 3 to 4, he lost 2 tenths. And now he's coming into sector 5, and he is another 2 tenths exactly. So 68 100ths back, 108, Oh, it was actually 4 tenths. Now he's lost another 2 tenths. So 128, he's way down, maybe top 10 if he doesn't lose any more. But the pattern doesn't fit. It looks like he's going to lose more time. Yep, 145. And it does put him in to 10th place right now. A decent start, but then consequently lost 2 to 4 tenths every sector to Franjo van Almen, who just absolutely destroyed the field today. Hemmetsberger, the lone Austrian in the field so far, and 10th. Alexander Almot-Kilde now on course, heading towards the first time check, 3 tenths back already, a little slow at the speed trap there, and heading down. So of all the people in the top 8 in the World Cup standings, they're all in. The one who stands to gain the most right now is Franjo van Almen, because he's first and Odermatt's only 4th, and he's going to pick up a good 40 points, at least maybe 50 points on Odermatt in the overall standings. Alexander Almot-Kilde losing so much time, 132 back already through the 3rd time check. And I don't know what it is, because the course looks great. I mean, the course is, I don't see a lot of grooves. I don't see, there's no bad visibility. It's beautiful. It's sunny. Everything is perfect. Visibility is great. It's cold enough that the snow is not too soft. So really not understanding why these guys can't keep these differentials a little closer. Yeah, it's a one-man race today. When you look at that, it's 65 100s back from 1st to 2nd, and then 65 more hundreds back will get you all the way down to 9th. So 8 people within 65 100s from 2nd to 9th, and that's the same differential as from 1st to 2nd. So that just shows you how great a race Franjo van Almen had today. Kilde in 283 behind, in 18th. And yeah, you think 283 behind, he's got to be last. But no, James Crawford, 288 behind, and Elian Leto, 3 seconds back. A 3-second gap between 1st and 20th right now. And that's just tough. Louis Vogt of Germany on course and heading down. A little funkiness with the interaction here. All right, Vogt is already 6 tenths back through the 2nd time check. So yeah, guys, this race is looking like it may be over. I don't know who is left in the field that can even... All right, we do have some interesting people from last week's races in Kitzbühel that are still coming up. The next racer, Benjamin Alliot, did well. Niels Alphand, the son of the great Luc Alphand, Blaise Giesendanner from France, Stefan Babinski of Austria, and of course the ageless wonder, Christoph Innerhofer, who's 41 years old, will be 30th. So I think we're gonna hang around until at least 30-31 and see what happened. Alliot is on course. It says started and Vogt isn't finished, so there's going to be a TV break after number 22. But yeah, we're looking at Vogt 148 back through the 5th time check. That could be 11th place, so not terrible. 160 back puts him in 13th. He is through the finish line and in 13th. All right, Benjamin Alliot, number 22, and like I said, after him, we still got a couple of guys that definitely can make some noise. Niels Alphand, Blaise Giesendanner, Stefan Babinski, and Christoph Innerhofer with number 30 at 41 years old. Amazing racer, always good for a surprise. We saw him with a great result last week. And now let's just see Benjamin Alliot, only 800ths back and with a super speed at the first speed trap. So as I said, another Italian up-and-coming racer, Benjamin Alliot. And he's through the second time check, only 33 100ths back. So 5th right now, and that is a great time. So we're just going to watch here as Benjamin Alliot comes down, see that he doesn't lose too much more time from sector 2 to sector 3. And he's lost only 1600, so 4900ths. This is still, he still has a chance for a podium here. If he doesn't lose more time, he's still in that range of Paris and Ryan Cochran-Siegler. So let's see what happens here. Coming into time check 4, Benjamin Alliot, a little excitement here with a high bib number 22. And he has only lost 500ths more, so he's still on track for second. I told you there's some guys here in the 20 to 30, 20 to 35 bib range who still have a chance of making some noise. Alliot right there with the speed, only 1600 slower than Franjo van Almen, and coming now into, oh man, he lost time there, 66 100ths, but 66 100ths is still podium. One more time check, 18 seconds to go. I think we're looking at maybe 4th place. He could knock Odermatt back if he just keeps this up. Let's see, Benjamin, 86 100ths, 5th place. Odermatt is probably thanking his lucky stars because, yeah, Alliot could have knocked him down another spot, which would have given Franjo van Almen even more point differential to close the gap to first in the downhill specialty discipline. So Benjamin Alliot with bib 22 in 5th. Italians now in 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th. A great day for the Italian racers, even though Franjo van Almen won. But now, yeah, we've got a little TV break here. We're going to give them about 20 or 30 seconds. I think it's about 30 seconds. I almost missed last time because I was yakking away and all of a sudden the next guy's already going down. So again, 23, Migiano. And then let's just look at who's next. Migiano and then Nils Alfon. Brody Seeger, who did really well last week as well from Canada with bib 25. Blaise Giesendanner, who did well. Romet Baumann, also an older guy, I think 36 or 38 years old, Austrian guy from St. Johann in Pongau. But racing for Germany, then Stefan Babinski, Austrian. Christoph Innerhofer, again, the 41-year-old from Italy. And since it's Italy's day, definitely think we're going to see him put in a great ride. Ottmar Striedinger, and then if you remember from last week in Kitzbühel on the Strife, Guglielmo Bosca, who had bib number 1 or 2 in that downhill last week, been relegated down below the top 30. So after the first 15, it's all by points. The goal of these guys is always to try to stay in that first group or in that second group of skiers. So yeah, Migiano next should be starting soon. We're gonna pay attention to that because the commercial break, they are interviewing people. Not sure exactly who's being interviewed here. Daniel Hemmetsberger of Austria being interviewed. He is 11th overall right now, 145 back. But racing is back on. Alessio Migiano is on the course, 1900s back at the first time check. Again, I can't tell you how beautiful it is, the weather, but you've got to be up high for the snow. Down in the valley, there is 0 snow. Okay, Migiano very slow through the speed trap and now already half a second back at time check 2. Again, we're looking down the list here. And we're waiting, of course, to see some of these other guys that are just amazing, like Christoph Innerhofer. All right, Migiano losing, actually picked up some time. Picked up time between Sector 2 and Sector 3. 4/10 back only. So the course is definitely still very, very solid. 1700s lost on that section into Sector 4, but 5700s, as you know, still a podium because Franjo van Almen is 65 100ths ahead of Dominique Paris, who's in second, Ryan Cochran-Siegler, 7/10 back in third, Marco Odermatt, 8/10 back in fourth. So watching carefully here, Migiano, 59 100s, didn't lose any more time, well, 2 100s, but he's still on pace for a podium if he can just hold it together for this last section. But that's, of course, where Franjo van Almen was so dominant. And here we go into the finish line. Alessio Migiano, Swiss racer, 93 100s back in seventh. So Cassé, just a little bit before him, 92 back in sixth, and then Benjamin Alliot of Italy as well, 86 100s back, keeps his fifth place so far. All right, Niels Alfond, we've been waiting for him again. You see his dad in the crowd all the time, Luc Alfond, grand old man, who won so many downhill races in his career, and his kid, Niels Alfond, on course now, unfortunately already 3/10 back at the first time check. The Swiss fans really loving it so far today. Franjo van Almen in first, looks untouchable in first. After that, Odermatt in fourth, Migiano in seventh, Alexis Monet in ninth, already 1 second behind. So on course, Niels Alfond, 56 100s back, losing time, but not a terrible amount. Now 78 100s at the third time check. So yeah, losing. Oh yeah, and that built up jump is actually they built it clearly. It's about 6 feet high, and it just has a vertical back wall there. And Alfond went over that and was flailing pretty badly, so that's why he lost so much time. His speed isn't bad, but he's already a second back at the fourth time check. So Niels Alfond, a second back. I don't see him finishing in the top 10, although 10th place is 123. So we have to see here. Oh, DNF. We have a DNF. It would be our first DNF of the day. It is. We have to watch here what happened. He was coming between time check 4 and time check 5, and he caught his left outside ski on something. You could see it kind of jerk a little bit, and then down he went. Not bad, kind of a sliding fall on an area that wasn't super steep. He's already up and skiing again. Annoyed, both poles still in hand, looking really comfortable. Comes over another one of these constructed jumps. Oh yeah, and he went wide open like this. Tips got up too high, had to overcorrect, and then coming through the next left-hander, got a little wide, and his left ski just started to dig in, and it spun him down. So yeah, he's skiing down. So next ski racer in 50, which means probably in about 25 seconds, Brodie Seeger of Canada will be next as we see Niels Alfond come down through the finish line. Disappointing for him. Not exactly sure about the Olympics. A good chance that he'll be in there. How many Frenchmen are ahead of him in today's standings? We've got Moussaton 11th, and Niels Allegre in 18th. I think he's still the third French racer for the Olympics next week. So Brodie Seeger on course, 16:78 through the first time check, 3/10 back already. He was pretty quick early in the race last week. I'm going to try to find out real quick what he did last week in in Kitzbühel, because I remember seeing him 29th. Okay, wasn't that great. Maybe it was the Super G. But yeah, he was quick up top and then lost out. But he's losing a lot of time. He's already 1.08 behind at the third time check. So Brody Seeger struggling on this Crans-Montana course. There are shadows creeping in now in some of the places where there's some rock formations that 20 minutes ago even were not in play, but they're now throwing some shadows on some parts. But in general, this entire track is in the sun still. -7 Celsius at the start. So cold enough that you don't think you're going to get too much softening of the snow. And Brody Seeger coming down 1.76 back already at speed check 5. So I don't see, much happening there. Lars Rösti, next Swiss racer, then Blaise Giesendanner, Roman Baumann, Stefan Babinski, and with 30, Christoph Innerhofer. We're definitely going to stay for him because at age 41, he is still amazing. Brody Seeger in 21st, 2.24 seconds behind. So definitely not his day. Will he get points? Yeah, maybe. He might still hang in. 21st might still get points. Top 30 get points. And every point helps your position to keep your position in that second group. All right, next, Lars Rösti. He is on course with good speed and only 0.2 back at the first time check. Yeah, like I said, Marco Odermatt in 4th today so far, stands to lose a lot of time, a lot of points to Franjo van Almen in the Downhill World Cup discipline. We'll see how that works. I don't really see anybody coming in between Van Almen and Odermatt now. A couple guys made it interesting. Alio with bib 22 and Migiano with bib 23 were only about a tenth, even less than a tenth behind Odermatt. So he could have easily been worse off. Lars Rösti, 0.6 back through time check 3, not bad at all. Top 10, possible, maybe. Yeah, great. Picked up 0.2 at sector 4. Lars Rösti, scary fast right now, coming through here. Another Swiss racer threatening Odermatt. If he keeps this up, Odermatt's 4th place is definitely in jeopardy. Good speed, 109, fastest there. Now 8th, but he still lost 0.3, 74 100ths. Odermatt 79 100ths. So Lars Rösti would have to not lose any more time between sector 5 and the finish line to stay ahead of Odermatt. And here we go. It's going to be about 5 more seconds till he crosses the line. 0.9 back in 6th. So he ends up 11 hundredths back of Odermatt in 4th, 4 100ths back of Alio in 5th, and just 2 100ths ahead of Cassé, who drops to 7th, and 3 100ths ahead of Migiano, who drops to 8th. And Florian Schieder also going to lose a lot of points here today because he was 5th overall, and he's been dropped all the way down to 9th. All right, Blaise Giesendanner on track, but a very, very bad first sector, half a second back, the worst so far, and he is over a second back. So Giesendanner not a factor today at all. Going down the list here, let's see one more time what we have coming up. We have a couple of great racers to follow. And a little bit of mouse-ish. There we go. Just scooch down here. Baumann next. Solid veteran ski racer. Then Stefan Babinski going to the Olympics. The question is, will he be a factor? Oof. Giesendanner just all over the place on the jumps, flailing. Really not having a great race. And then with number 30, definitely want to stay and watch him. Christoph Innerhofer, 41 years old. Yeah, awesome. Just awesome to see. Yeah, you can click on these in the FIS timing and then go down and get the athlete biography. All right, Giesendanner is through, not quite, 2 seconds plus behind. Where is he going to end up? Interesting to see how big a difference between him and Lars Ersti, who went just before him. Giesendanner coming across now in 157.33. That puts him in 23rd place. So he did improve a little bit towards the end, but still puts him way down in 23rd, my bad, 23rd place. So ahead of Kilde, behind Brody Seeger. James Crawford with start number 3 and Leto with start number 5 relegated all the way down to 25th and 26th. Roman Baumann on course, quarter of a second back at the first time check with bib 28 now. The Austrian who races for Germany, also an older fellow, I think 36 or 38 years old, now half a second back at speed check, time check number 2. Yeah, speed was good, but kept losing time, quarter of a second each sector. Coming into sector 3 now, just seconds away from that split time for him, and lost 6/10. So a really, really unfortunate section there for Roman Baumann. So I see that, and now I'm actually seeing him go from sector 2 to sector 3. Yeah, that one shady part I mentioned before where that big rock outcropping is, looks like he overlooked a bump there and got a little sideways, and that slowed him down a little bit. So yeah, the racers do need to be aware that there are still those bumps there. You just can't see them as well because the shade is now on them. Really fast for Baumann at the second speed trap, but he's already over 1.2 seconds back. I don't see him finishing in the top 20. Yeah, 1.7 back now at the 5th and final sector timing, and he'll probably lose another couple. I figure he'll be about 2 seconds back. He may still be able to be 22nd. So not a great day for Baumann. Yep, 2:14 back in 22nd, as predicted. All right, now it's going to get interesting. We've got a really good Austrian skier. There will be a TV break after number 30, after Christoph Innerhofer. So we're going to keep covering this right up until number 30. Stefan Babinski is now number 29, and he is, I think, on course. We'll see in a second here. On course, 2/10 back with excellent speed, the fastest speed of the day at 1:18 at the first speed trap. So let's see if he can keep that up. He's a solid racer. He's had some really good results in the past. 3/10 back through sector 2. This is good. Still has him about 5th overall. So we could have another late bib number with a surprise here, moving up. And again, it's not about winning anymore. I don't think that's a question for anybody, but it's about whether or not they're going to get in between Van Almen and Odermatt and make the downhill World Cup standings more interesting. 72 100s back now for Babinski, so I think it's not going to be of any concern to Odermatt anymore. He's down to 14th place, but 7/10. It's again, can you hold it? And nobody's been able to hold it. Nobody's been able to keep that distance. I'm trying to see here what happened. Yeah, just again, over the bumps, just a little wild, a little flailing. Only lost 14 hundredths more, and again with the 4th fastest time at the second speed trap. So clearly his gliding through the speed trap, very, very good. Let's see, 4th best at the speed trap 2, 1.17, 14, so top 15 finish. It wouldn't be terrible, but the way he started and the speeds that he was getting said that there could have been more in it for him. Stefan Babinski with bib 29 of Austria coming down to the finish line now. in 1:56.53, and that puts him in 14th. And 14th right now is just ahead of Niels Hintermann and Justin Morizier. So he beats them out by 100 each. They are tied for 15th at this point. Justin Morizier, remember, was our first skier of the day with bib number 1. And now we have Christoph Innerhofer, and this will be the final racer that we cover today. Christoph Innerhofer, 41 years old. Babinski in the finish area, super excited about being 14th. Innerhofer on his way, 27 100s back at the first time check. Not so great on the speed, but let's see what he does with that. He's been around for 20 years in the ski circus, just an amazing talent, amazingly resilient. 5/10 back now, half a second back at time check 2. So always fun to watch him. Just gets in there and just pushes away. No long hesitation, at the gate. Just bam, here we go. I'm racing. He just loves it. He loves it so much. But again, it's the jumps. These constructed jumps are pretty high, and several of the racers, including Odermatt and Franzoni, had trouble, opened up, flailing a bit on the jumps. Innerhofer now a second back at the third time check, 120 back at the fourth, so he's way behind Babinski, who raced before him. Not Innerhofer's day. I hope he gets to go to the Olympic, but I don't see it. They just have too many guns this year. They've got Paris, who was second today. They got Alliot, had a great race, recommending himself, finishing 5th today. Cassé in 7th. Schieder in 9th, who's 5th in the overall downhill World Cup. Tough decisions for the Italians. Not sure how many they're allowed to send. There was a bit of a discussion about quotas and start positions for the Olympics. I know the Austrian team was complaining that they didn't get enough spots, and I know some things were changed. Brazil, because Lucas Broughton, Pinheiro Broughton, is so high up in the World Cup points that he helps Brazil get more spots, but he's the only racer from Brazil, so it really doesn't make much sense. Okay, Christoph Innerhofer in 19th, 1.73 seconds back, and who does that slot him in between? Just behind Franzoni, who's just ahead of Franzoni by 1/100th, and that pushes Franzoni all the way back to 20th spot. Allegra in 21st, Rogantine in 22nd. So I think that's pretty much it. The TV feed will continue. There are 30 more racers to go. There may be some surprises later, but our podium is Franjo van Almen, first in 1:55 flat, dominated every part of the race except sector 3. And that was only about 1/10 of a second that he lost there. Dominique Paris in second. Great race for him. He's definitely going to also gain some points on Marco Odermatt, who did not podium today. And big surprise, Ryan Cochran-Siegle, a great race, getting ready for the Olympics. Imagine if he does this next week and surprises everybody in Bormio at the Olympics. The US would be thrilled. They often rise to the occasion. One other point about Crans-Montana today. Crans-Montana, this downhill is the one they're going to be using next year, a year from now, in the World Championships in Alpine Skiing, which will be held here in Crans-Montana in February of 2027. So this was a bit of a preview race for that for next year, but really just a final tune-up now for the Olympics, which start next week. Join me next Saturday morning, just 6 days from now, the Olympic downhill for the men, followed by Sunday's Olympic downhill for the women. All right, I am going to watch one more racer here because he's an Austrian, and as you all know, I've lived in Austria for a long time and I follow them quite closely. Ottmar Streitinger is on course. 2/10 back at the first time check with a decent speed. Heading now into the second time check. We'll see if he's got anything going. Yeah, 4800's back, 11th. A top 15 would be really good for him, especially starting from all the way back in 31st. Let's see if he can keep that going. And this will really be the last racer of the day for us to follow. Ottmar Striedinger of Austria, 73/100's back now through the third time check, over the jump there at sector 2. I'm watching back here. Much cleaner than others. There does seem to be some rattling now. Maybe there are some grooves. He handled the shady section really well there. We saw other people not so well. Again, the jumps really, really good. Striedinger, 73/100's back. Now 1.2. Okay, yeah, he has lost his edge. Did well right up until sector 2 and then just started dropping. So don't see him finishing in the top 20 anymore. Unfortunate. Good start to the race. He's a good glider coming now through that last section. 1.83 seconds. So yeah, he's lost his edge and he will be lucky to finish in the top 25. So coming down now, it'll probably be about 2.1 seconds behind. And he's in 27th, 2.39 seconds behind. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me today. Really appreciate y'all here on the live feed of the men's downhill from Crans-Montana. Excited for next week. We're going to cover all of the Olympic skiing events in live stream, starting with the men's downhill next Saturday. Join us for that. You'll see it on my channel. Like and subscribe. Get your notifications. And we'll see you there for the men's downhill next Saturday morning from Bormio, followed the very next day by the women's Olympic downhill from Cortina Tampezzo on the Tofane slope. All right, take care, and we'll see you soon.